Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at techtrader.com. It's Tuesday evening, February the 9th, and these are the charts of the day. We had a very interesting, very negative morning and a really nice late rally. Does it mean anything? I'm not sure. We'll see if we get a follow through. But there were a lot of stocks that reacted positively. So I'm going to go over some longs and some shorts that got blasted. Although there may be at this point some stocks that I think are overextended to the downside, and we have, I think, need for some kind of backing and filling or challenging overhead resistance, things of that nature. Look, take a look at CBM, for example, a biotech stock that got raped, killed from 55 and change all the way down to, 29 and change, very quickly too. The last 2 days saw it go up $10, and with big volume and a big breakaway gap today. Now, to me, this could be the reversal that's needed to change this stock. I don't think it goes straight up to 42 or 46. Those are targets. But I'd like to see if it extends a little bit, get some backing and filling consolidation, and then moves up. Keep an eye on CBM with nearly 5 days to cover short in addition. The trend before this breakdown was phenomenal as it went from 16 to mid-50s. CTSH. That's on the short side, so I'm going to cover that a little bit. Dust. As you can see, Dust had a phenomenal plunge, but what a day today on the reversal. Having dropped from 21 nearly down to 6 and change, very similar to the LABU. Both of them rallied today, but this one in particular with Nugget rolling over, went from 628 to 747 and just closed 3 cents off the high up, 73 cents, 11%, a mere 37.4 million, the biggest day ever in its history, is why I think this could be a key reversal day for this stock in particular. Now, if we look at where resistance might be, obviously you have gaps up here, and I'd have to say 9.5 would be a short-term target if this thing gets going, followed by maybe a move up towards 11. DWTI, well, the ultra-short oil is still strong. Look, we came down hard from the highs, but after 5 waves up. We've had 1, 2, 3 corrective waves, then a pop 2, 3 back up again. Now, if this extends, we could see 4.25, or if it backs off, it wouldn't shock me to see it retest 310 or 15. But let's take a look at the target. There's 425 and 475 as potential targets for that one. The SCO, similar pattern, broke out today as well. And if it does extend, we can see retested the highs near 244 or even as high as 260. Top of the channel would dictate a move towards 300. That would be something. Wouldn't surprise me if oil got in the low 20s, for example. ERY, very similar to those two, also is an ETF for oil energy shares as opposed to the commodity itself. You can see the multiple waves up we had there and the big plunge, which kind of equated to or formed a falling wedge. Now that falling wedge popped to resistance, pulled back, double bottomed, right near there, near the 50, and then 4 days in a row has been up now. If it extends, I'd look for 41-ish, 40, 41, and then we'll see if it extends beyond that. Despite this pullback in solar stocks, and many of them because of the cheap price of oil, FSLR had a really exceptional day, jumping from 62.5 to 66.85 and closing at 66.48 up 230. That was a 3.6% gain on 2.4 million, which is the biggest volume in about a week. So if this has finally pulled back and tested the trend line at 50 and bounced, we'll see if there's a follow through. Obviously, the resistance right now in this one is going to be, I think, near 69. So let's see if we get it through 69, get it to 72. But the channel says this could be an $82, $84, $85 stock eventually, but we got a lot of resistance to get through first. Well, LABU did reverse similar to the Dust. Not that they're equated to each other, but both of them have dropped from 21 down to 4, 5, 6 range. This one in particular today had a big volume day, a whopping 16.5 million shares, reversing from 482 to 582 and closing at 529, up 6 cents. Now that wasn't much, but it looked like a reversal day. You can see the two highs yesterday and today, 587 and 582. Got to get to that zone for it to get up towards 770, 80. That would be my first target. The second target has to be near this zone at about 10.5, 10 at 10.30 thereabout. So if you're going to get any kind of movement up, the minimum movement will be 6.5 where the declining tops line is, but a punch out or penetration should get you about 770, 80. That's my first target. Let's see what happens at that point. MXL with a nice snapback. We've been liking this chart all along. Here's your 1, 2, 3, 4 with a 3-wave corrective. You can see how high this could get, as high as low 20s if it rips. Now, first, before you get there, you got to take out 1620. And today, it only got up to the declining tops line. I'm sorry, to the 50-day moving average, and it did back off. So it wasn't a great close, but it was still up $1.05 or 7.75% on good volume. Best volume we've had since November. So a punch out here, and we may see 18-ish. That's my target. PRMW has been phenomenal all year. Matter of fact, for 2 years. Let's call it 3 now. Stocks moved from under $1 to $10, tenfold increase, and it's consolidated now for 4 months. This constitutes a potential base for a move. Today's action of a pop of 64 cents or 7.8%. The volume was low. It needs better volume. It's not a big volume stock to begin with. But my target's 960.65. We get through that, I can see this going all the way up to 12.5, 13. SCO we talked about, and then there's SWFT. Look, the transportation industry, trucking, railroads, airlines, etc., are really picking it up here and could lead the market higher. If you just take a look at the TRAN, that was up 1% today, where some of the other markets were barely ahead. That gives me a little bit of indication that we could see the transportation stocks make a big move here. Now, SWFT has gone from 11.75 up into that 16-17 zone and consolidated. Watch this level, the high in November of 1763 and last week's high at 1766. So through that 17.75 range, we should see 20.5, 21, and maybe as high as 24.5 secondary target. Those are going to be my targets on SWFT going forward. I like the way it looks. It may end up being a swing trade. I like the declining tops line, crossover moving averages, and now the consolidation. A nice setup for more upside. Let's take a look at some of the boxes shorts that did phenomenally well in the last few days. Akamai just gotten crushed from the mid-70s down to the high 30s. At this point, today down another $1.41 or 3.5%, but at a long-term support level down in here near the big gap. Now, of course, it could fill the gap. There's always a possibility you get this down there at 35. But if I'm short this stock, and I've been short up since we first noticed it up in that area, I tend to want to sell it. Excuse me. Grab a drink. Okay. So the bottom of the channel is reached. Lateral price support was reached. After a long decline, consider covering it. BKD, another one of our boxes shorts that keeps coming down with bear flags and coils all the way down, has dropped from 40 to near 11. This spike down out of this bear flag would get me to cover as well. Cognizant, well, the major top was broken with the breakaway gap and immediately got down to excuse me, the first target near support around 51. And since this is near a channel bottom, I would look for a pullback. Yes, of course, it can go lower, a lot lower, but for now, let's see if we can get a consolidation set up. Wave 1, 2, and 3s here. Maybe we get wave 4 and then wave 5. DeVry, another educational stock getting whacked. As you can see, I have a target down at 13.5, which could very well happen, but the stock has come down pretty hard from this rising bear wedge when it was nearly 24 down to under 16. So at this point, I would wait to see if it consolidates. GPN, this is a great swing trade for us on the short side. I gave it to you about 65 after the first wave down and that bear wedge. Wave 3, 4, and 5 has ensued and taken us to my target zone near 51. So you can cover this one. I think long term it could go lower, but after 5 waves, I cover my shorts. JCOM, big drop down today as it dropped down another $1.78 and took out support. This is key because now it leaves it open to a much bigger decline or at least a gap fill. That could take it around 60. It could very well even get down towards 56. And keep your eye on a downward extension. Now it's had a big plunge here. What I would look for is some consolidation potentially. Kate Spade is rolling over yet again. After I gave out this stock a long time ago in that range here when it broke down. You can see it's dropped down, consolidated for a long time, broke that finally, snapped back, and it's falling again. For me, the long-term channel says this could be an $11, $12 stock. Papa John's doing very well for us on the short side, as I gave you a short up here in the 57.8 range. It's dropped down in the low 40s, 44. But it's sliding and looking a lot lower. If it doesn't hold it right there, I can see the stock being a high 30 stock. QLIK is getting whacked this week, and you can see how after dropping precipitously and forming a bear wedge in here, it's rolled over from 33.5 to under 20, because it's support level around 18. That would be my target, and we're almost there. Qualis, QLYS, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a big fifth wave down to support, and my target around 17. I'm covering it here. And tree, lending tree, is first roll over here from the bear wedge, so legs 1 and 2. This is the third leg. We may see a fourth and a fifth. I'm not sure this is done yet, but it is at support. And tonight, that's it, folks, for the long and short side of it. We're going to need some luck tomorrow. The market's very volatile in here. Let's see what we get tomorrow. Good evening.